India's health system is on the brink of collapse as the country continues to record the world's biggest COVID-19 daily cases. UNICEF supports Gambia with birth and death registration materials to facilitate effective data collection. And at least 5 died as protesters took to street in Chad, demanding return to civilian rule. These and more coming on the world today. Do stay with us. Good evening, viewers. You're watching iAfrica TV, and this is the World Today newscast with me, Sohna Tunkara. To our news in detail. India's health system is on the brink of collapse as the country continues to record the world's biggest COVID-19 daily cases. Hospitals around India are currently struggling to provide medical assistance to patients amid lack of ventilators and hospital beds. Leading global economies are mobilizing resources to help India's crippling health sector as the Asian nation is looking for any help it can get. This is a files in this report.
Hospitals in some cities in India have stopped admitting patients due to lack of oxygen ventilators and medicine. Deaths have been surging in India as a second wave of infections devastates the country. Next to the United States, Brazil and Mexico, India is the 4th country to pass 200,000 deaths. According to BBC, families had to wait hours before being allowed to cremate their dead due to the rise in demand. Relatives of the ill have been left to beg for oxygen cylinders, empty hospital beds and medicine. In Delhi, the authorities have reportedly cut down trees in city parks for use as kindling on funeral pyres. Relatives of the dead have also been asked to help with cremations by peeling wood and assisting in other rituals. Meanwhile, international experts have called for help globally as 1.3 billion people in India are on the brink of humanitarian catastrophe, and some urge the US to lift the embargo on the export of raw materials needed to expand vaccine production in India. The real situation in the country may worsen as media reports show that official statistics are seriously underestimating the scale of the tragedy. The first coronavirus-related death was reported in India on 12 March last year. Since then, the country has registered more than 17 million infections. According to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University, the pandemic has revealed just how interconnected the world is. And few people in developed countries have access to COVID-19 vaccine, while others are yet to receive any vaccine. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am DCC.
Unfortunate circumstances posed by COVID-19 is currently affecting India. Now in Gambia, former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Ami Bensouda, said the decrees he helped in drafting were not meant to give utmost powers, urging that the junta attempted power before the decrees were established. The former legal counsel of the Janneh Commission was at the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission to give her testimony on the role in the promulgation of the Janneh-sanctioned AFPRC decrees. And Counsel Bensouda told the Truth Commission that the framework of the decrees were effective because it was based on the stage of military rule. Omar Ahmad Toure tells us more.
Ami Bensouda, the former lead counsel at Janneh Commission, tells the Truth Commission that decrees had not given utmost powers to the military to conduct despotic acts, despite Counsel Jahade's intervention that those decrees did not provide guidelines for activities of the junta, but rather gave them an act of force. Madam Bensouda disagrees. She says the decrees were drafted to restore order.
The decrees did not enable Yaya Jammeh and his regime.
Yaya
Jammeh and his group, the junta, took power without any decrees.
Yaya Jammeh molu yes bankota le wayatar han decree ta kering.
They held power without decrees.
Sembo mara decree mantara lori utumo.
They arrested people without decrees.
Ya molu muta amanke decree kanti.
They tortured people without decrees.
Ya molu tajire ya amanke decree.
So the decrees were intended to introduce order in our society.
The former Solicitor General also refuses to take responsibility for the consequences the decrees brought and instead shifts blame on Yaya Jammeh and the accomplices.
So Yaya Jammeh should take responsibility, his junta should take responsibility for the tortures, the killings.
Yaya Jammeh na la sojarolu telle nyanta woduno tala ye tajire yalu menuke ani mo falu menuke.
Nobody in the Ministry of Justice enabled them to do so. I did not create the regime, the military regime. And I think it is only by grace of God that people escaped Yaya Jammeh's victimization.
According to Bensouda, most military governments kill because they want to instill fear in people and extend their perpetuation in power. She says linking her to such atrocities is unjust.
And I think it would be unfair, if I may put it that way, to lead them to believe that those who drafted this decrees were the authors and therefore have some responsibility.
And unfair at a collecting come in Nimani Senandiko, come in Molmi alonko wole in decree ke Marco Puria deda.
It would be wrong to lead them to
the debt burden of this country is $77.4 billion, meaning that even the newly born child carries a debt burden of $38,000. A newly born Gambian child carries the burden of $38,000. How are we going to solve that problem? We are saying that we'll create a cooperative bank out of the sovereign wealth of the land that will be able to purchase the fishing trawlers, that will plow our waters and ensure that we put more wealth in our coffers and earn more foreign exchange.
Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, Halifa questioned why Gambia spent $4 million in rice importation when the country has arable land for cultivation.
Import substitution. We have indicated very clearly that we spend $4 billion in terms of importation of rice, when we have all the land to be able to cultivate, lacking only the resources to be able to do that. When we have money in us, which we can send back to the farming community and give them the fertilizer, the seeds and farming implements they need, and produce abundant rice, and therefore leave $4 billion in our hands rather than leaving the country in terms of foreign exchange. That is what we call import substitution.
He added that in the tourism sector, almost 300,000 tourists are capable of coming to the Gambia. Honorable Salah, who is also a parliamentarian for Serekunda, said they will engage cooperative banks to sponsor activities that open ways for marketing their products and link to the strategy of promoting tourism in the country.
They will say 280 something, but 3,000 tourists realistically could be mobilized to come to the Gambia. We are saying that we will have a program where each tourist, before you leave your land, will tell you about the poverty of our people. Those people who are going to go there to sell the country will not only be selling sand, beach, and sun. They will be selling humanity. They will be telling those people what they can add to our country that is of value. That at least if they spend even $100 or euro, that goes to our people. How? We'll get our people to start making cloth, to start making pottery, to start making all those things that constitute our national heritage.
To him, development is about knowledge and science, not imitation. It is about study and not ready-made. The top politician said they will look at the potential the country has and craft their policies on the basis of what is scientifically possible to enable them achieve their goals. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
From the report by Fatoumata Kasim on the Gambia's political system, in other parts of the world, Chad is facing a crackdown as residents in the capital reacted in an anti-military demonstration on Tuesday. These incidents surfaced following the military council declaring itself in charge of the country after longtime President Idrissa Déby was killed while visiting troops in April 19. Daisy tells us more.
Car tires could be seen burning in the capital city and N'Djamena after protesters disorganized the roads. Few vehicles, mostly military patrol trucks, could be seen lying along the road. This happened as security forces cracked down on protesters, demanding a return to civilian rule after the army took over last week.
Si j'ai la bonne mémoire, ils l'ont dit.
If I remember correctly, they said the right to protest was part of their current legal framework. But I was surprised around 4 or 5 p.m. to see tear gas everywhere. Innocent people and children being chased down, including their own backyards, taken and tied up. I'm really shocked.
Several opposition politicians called the takeover a coup, urging supporters to hit the streets, despite the appointment of a civilian prime minister in the transition government. Headed by
June for a certificate.
The support from UNICEF includes desktop computers, server machines, laptops, tablets, and printers meant to facilitate the work of public health officials in registration of births and deaths in the country. Data from the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey of 2018 shows a slow increase of 5.8% in the number of births registered from 2010 to 2018. While the figures look bad, 78 out of every 100 mothers and caregivers know how to register their children. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
From the report by Mariama Cham, we will now go with a short commercial break and the news continues. Stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put in to constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just watching, this is the World Today newscast here on Africa TV. On to our remaining stories. Despite the impact of the global health crisis, Ghana's real estate industry contributed immensely to the country's economic growth in 2020. According to the National Statistical Service, the housing industry made the headway during the lockdown as many Ghanaians, especially those outside the country, were tempted to buy homes. As the West African country continues its recovery process, some analysts believe other sectors, including the hospitality industry, also needs to be supported by the government. Here is more of that in this report.
Ghana's Statistical Service says the real estate industry contributed significantly to economic growth at the end of last year when COVID-19 lockdown restrictions were eased, while other sectors of the economy like tourism and hospitality industry were the hardest hit. The housing sector recorded a growth of 43.5%. The lockdown influenced many Ghanaians, especially those living abroad, to buy homes. Analysts are concerned that the hospitality industry in Ghana is still reeling from the pandemic.
Services sector has been the one that has been leading in terms of contributing to the economy. So the hotel chains and all of that hugely affected. I'm sure some of the hotels, I'm involved in a lot of activities in hotels in terms of events and what have you. You go and see that most of them have closed their conferences and what have you because of the danger that revolves around this COVID-19.
The government reviewed its projection of the economic growth last year from 6.5% to 0.9% when the pandemic struck. But the year ended with a 0.4% growth, according to data from the Statistical Service.
The government has to be strategically positioned to support these major players in these chains, in this value chain of the tourism. It's very key so that when we rebound back, we will be at a place where we can build from where we left off pre-COVID.
The IMF has estimated Ghana's economy to grow by 4.6% this year, higher than the 3.3% growth it's projected for the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana is among few African countries that recorded a positive economic growth rate last year, despite the fallout from COVID-19 pandemic. The government is targeting a 5% growth in the economy this year as it rolls out its vaccination.
On the global front, Egyptians have welcomed the country's central bank's decision to allow the use of electronic currency in the country. The monetary policy, which is the first time in the North African state, is expected to boost financial inclusion and digital transformation, authorities say. The new electronic currency will be used through mobile wallet and service providers.
The issuance of the electronic currencies is the first of its kind in Egypt. 1 unit of the new electronic currency is to have the value of 1 Egyptian pound and is to be used via the mobile wallet and service providers.
The state and central bank policies are aimed at achieving financial inclusion and digital transformation, as well as to transform the society into a cashless economy. It protects the different sides of any transaction, whether consumers or traders. This system will help merge the informal economy with the formal economy, as all transactions will be monitored by banks and so will naturally increase the tax revenue for the state.
The central bank has stepped up its drive for digital transformation in the last few years, encouraging Egyptians to part way with cash and log online.
Electronic currencies are going to be the trend and an alternative to the paper notes and coins. It's a good idea, especially that the central bank can control the transactions, making it easier and safer to use.
The Bitcoin or virtual and electronic currencies are the future. The Bitcoin or cryptos are volatile. To have a currency monitored by the central bank will create stability, which is important for us.
But is the introduction of the electronic currency a step towards issuing cryptocurrencies, which the central bank has strongly rejected?
There's a difference between the electronic currency and cryptocurrency. The electronic currency is issued against an actual amount of money in the person's bank account, unlike the cryptocurrency that doesn't have any financial control, no base or form to protect the currency owner, nor to monitor illegal transactions.
There will be a limit on issuing electronic units for each person. However, the e-currency can be exchanged into Egyptian pound. Achieving financial inclusion and digital transformation will elevate Egypt in the world rankings and ratings of the international markets.
From Egypt, we head to South Africa, where President Cyril Ramaphosa has praised its citizens who played an integral part in the country's attainment of freedom. The Rainbow Nation is celebrating 27 years of democracy. April 27 was the day all South Africans had the opportunity to democratically elect the leader of their choice. The country's president, who also encourages South Africans to embrace unity, as this year's celebration is marked under the theme The Year of Charlotte Mehimi, the meaning of freedom under COVID-19.
The 27th of April 2021 marks 27 years since the end of apartheid regime. It's also the day when all South Africans were given a right to vote in the first democratic elections. This year's Freedom Day celebrations were held under the theme The Year of Charlotte Maxeke, the meaning of freedom under COVID-19. Maxeke is celebrated for being the first black woman to graduate with a university degree, as well as being one of the founders of the Bantu Women's League, which later became the ANC Women's League.
Many have paid the ultimate price so that we are able to breathe the clean air of freedom today. Over the years, we have encountered and overcome many challenges. But there are still many challenges that we are yet to overcome. These are problems common to all of us, and they impact on all of us. But like those who came before us, we understand that no challenge is too great that it cannot be overcome.
The president has also asked South Africans to unite in fighting social ills, particularly gender-based violence. South Africa has a femicide rate that's 5 times higher than the global average.
Let us be guided by our loyalty alone. And our loyalty should be to our country. The struggles waged by our forebears were not for themselves alone. They were for the generations yet to come. We must take a firm stand against the social ills that prevent the men and the women and children of South Africa from living lives of freedom. We must take a firm stand against violence that is perpetrated against women and children. We must speak out and report any instances of gender-based violence, even if the perpetrators are close to us.
President Ramaphosa reminded South Africans to celebrate their diversity and nationhood, despite all the challenges they faced.
Let us acknowledge and let us appreciate, and more importantly, let us celebrate the diversity of this country, for it is what makes us who we are. We may come from different backgrounds and different regions in our country, but we call ourselves South Africans with pride.
Ramaphosa also emphasized that there's an urgent need to transform the ownership, control, and management of the economy so that black South Africans are fully represented and equally benefit.
Well, viewers, that was all on The World Today. You can catch up with Mariama Cham for more national stories on Gambia 24 at 800 hours here on iAfrica TV. I am Sohna Tunkara. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Star GSM Electronics. Special Ramadan promotion starting from April 4th